Let me tell you something most people won't admit. Growth is not natural. It doesn't just happen because time is passing. A 40-year-old can still think like they're 17. A leader can still act like a follower. A dreamer can die with the dream still locked inside of them. Never born, never seen, never used. Why? Because growth is not automatic. It's forced. Nobody wakes up one day accidentally disciplined. You don't stumble into greatness. You don't drift into mastery. You grind into it. Inch by inch, habit by habit, decision by decision. I remember watching a man train for a marathon. Every morning he was out there at 5:00 a.m. Rain, heat, wind, didn't matter. One morning I asked him, how do you stay so motivated? He looked at me, dripping sweat, and said, I'm not motivated, I'm committed. That hit me. Because I realized the people we admire, the ones who achieve uncommon growth, they don't feel like doing it every day, but they've made a decision that's louder than their emotions. They've built a system that's stronger than their excuses. They don't live by mood, they live by mission. You want to know why discipline outweighs everything else? Because talent can fade, inspiration can run dry, motivation can come and go. But discipline shows up. Even when you don't feel like it, even when no one's watching, even when the applause is gone. And that's the moment growth happens. Not when it's easy, not when it's popular, but when it's painful, private, and persistent. Now let me ask you this. What part of you is still waiting for permission to grow? Have you ever wondered why some people, despite being born with so much potential, never seem to rise? Why is it that two people can grow up in the same neighborhood with the same access, and yet one thrives while the other stays stuck, complaining about circumstances that never change? Here's the truth most people run from. Growth does not happen just because time is passing. Growth is not a reward for existing. It is the result of intentional effort. Growth is not a reward for existing. It is the result of intention. You don't become better by chance. You become better by choice. The reason so many people stay the same year after year isn't because they're incapable. It's because they're comfortable. And comfort is the enemy of progress. It's quiet, subtle, seductive. It tells you you've done enough. It whispers, you're fine where you are. And so you stop pushing, you stop reaching, you stop fighting for the next level. And listen carefully. No one grows by accident. No one wakes up successful. No one drifts into their best self. Growth must be forced. You must choose discomfort. You must put yourself in situations that stretch you, challenge you, even scare you a little. Because that's where real development lives. On the edge of uncertainty, in the middle of pressure, just beyond what's easy. Think about a muscle. A muscle does not grow just because it exists. It grows when it's torn, when it's worked, when it's put under stress. You don't get stronger by watching other people lift weights. You get stronger by picking up something that feels too heavy and refusing to put it down. The same goes for your mind, your character, your habits, your discipline. You want to lead, you want to excel, you want to rise, then be ready to force yourself out of the familiar and into the unknown. No one is coming to do it for you. There's no perfect moment, no right time, just this one. Right now, most people are waiting for clarity, waiting for motivation, waiting for the right season. But let me ask you something. How long have you been waiting? And while you wait, what's being wasted? Time, potential, opportunity. See, the people who grow are not the ones who had it easy. They're the ones who decided, I can't stay here. They looked at their life, at the gap between who they are and who they could be, and they chose the hard road, not because it was fun, but because it was necessary. And they forced themselves to rise. That's what separates average from great. Not talent, not luck, not even knowledge, but the willingness to be uncomfortable, the courage to start when you don't feel ready, the discipline to keep going when no one is clapping, and the conviction that you are not finished yet. If you want to grow, you have to choose it. Daily, deliberately, not once, not when it feels good, but every single time life gives you two options: stay safe or grow stronger. Choose growth, always. Now here's the part most people don't want to face. Discipline outlasts motivation every time. Motivation is loud, it's flashy, it feels good, it makes you want to run, scream, jump into action, but it doesn't last. It fades, it disappears when the alarm goes off at 5 a.m., when your body aches, when nobody's watching, when the results are slow. That's when you realize motivation was never enough. Discipline, on the other hand, is quiet. It's not about feelings, it's about decisions. It doesn't ask how you feel, it tells you what to do. Discipline doesn't care if you're inspired, excited, or ready. It shows up anyway. Think about it. How many times have you felt pumped up after watching a video, reading a quote, or hearing a speech? You swore you'd change. You promised yourself this time it would be different. And maybe for a day or two it was. But then the feelings wore off. Life got busy. You got tired. And the same old habits crept back in. Why? Because feelings are fleeting. But discipline is built brick by brick, choice by choice. It's not sexy. It's not emotional. It's not even exciting. But it's powerful, because while everyone else is waiting to feel ready, the disciplined person is already moving. You want to change your life? Stop waiting to feel like it. You'll rarely feel like it. Growth doesn't ask your permission. Success doesn't care about your mood. If you only show up when it's easy, you'll never become what you're capable of being. Discipline is what separates the talkers from the builders, the dreamers from the doers, the ones who start from the ones who finish, because discipline keeps going long after motivation has gone missing. I once heard someone say, discipline is doing what needs to be done, even when you don't want to do it. It's waking up early, not because it feels good, but because your future deserves it. It's saying no to distractions, not because you're not tempted, but because your destiny is louder than your desire. That's power. That's control. That's what builds something real. Look around. The world is filled with talented people who never finished. Brilliant minds, creative hearts, gifted individuals who couldn't stay consistent. They had moments of greatness, but not the discipline to sustain it. You know what's rare? Not talent, not intelligence. What's rare is someone who can do the hard thing every day, especially when it's not fun. Discipline doesn't guarantee success overnight, but it guarantees progress. And progress over time builds momentum. And momentum, that's when life starts shifting in your favor. Not because you got lucky, but because you refuse to quit. So if you want to grow, really grow, stop chasing motivation. It's unreliable. Start chasing motivation. That's your foundation. That's your anchor. That's the part of you that doesn't care how it feels. It just knows where it's going. And if you keep showing up day after day, brick after brick, you don't have to chase growth. You'll become it. Here's the part that most people get completely backwards. They wait for the feeling before they take the action. They wait to be inspired before they start writing. They wait to feel confident before they step into leadership. They wait to be ready before they make the move. But here's the truth that most don't realize until it's too late. Emotion follows commitment, not the other way around. You don't feel brave and then act. You act and then you start to feel brave. You don't feel disciplined and then show up. You show up. And eventually, discipline starts to feel normal. Most people never grow because they're waiting for an emotional signal to tell them it's time. But growth isn't emotional, it's intentional. And feelings, they're the shadows that follow action, not the other way around. I've seen people with so much potential sit on their dreams for years because they didn't feel it yet. They said things like, I'll start when I'm more motivated, or I'll go for it when I feel more confident. But the problem is, you don't become confident by waiting, you become confident by doing. The act of moving forward creates the feeling you're waiting on. Did you ever force yourself to start something you didn't want to do? Maybe a workout, a tough conversation, a project. And somewhere in the middle, you started to feel it. That spark, that energy, that rhythm. That's the emotional reward of honoring your commitment. That's your brain catching up to your decision. That's proof that you can't think your way into growth. You have to act your way into it. But here's what's dangerous. When you live by emotion, you become unpredictable, unreliable. You become a slave to the mood of the moment. But when you live by commitment, you become powerful, steady, focused. You stop asking, do I feel like it? And start asking, is this aligned with who I'm becoming? That shift changes everything. It changes the way you approach your work. It changes the way you treat your health. It changes the way you lead, love, and live. Because now, you're not a passenger, you're the driver. And every time you choose commitment over comfort, you train your mind to serve your mission instead of your mood. Emotion is reactive. Commitment is proactive. Emotion wants comfort. Commitment demands growth. Emotion wants you to escape pressure. Commitment knows pressure is where diamonds are made. The people who build something lasting don't wait until they're in the right headspace. They create the headspace by honoring their word. They show up when it's boring, when it's hard, when it's slow. And in doing so, they earn the emotion the rest of the world is just hoping for. You want to feel proud? Then keep your promises to yourself. You want to feel momentum? Then follow through even when you're not in the mood. You want to feel purpose? Then act like your life matters before it feels like it does. Because that's the difference between those who grow and those who stay stuck. One is led by what they feel, the other is led by what they've decided. And if you want to go where few go, you'll have to learn to move even when the emotion is missing, because emotion catches up to commitment every single time. Let me tell you something that might sting a little. Real transformation doesn't happen in the spotlight. It doesn't happen when people are clapping for you. It doesn't happen when the world is watching. No, the real change, it happens when you're alone, quiet, struggling, questioning everything. That's where the shift takes place. Not in public, but in private. See, the world loves the outcome, the before and after, the applause, the medals, the milestones. But no one sees the nights you cried yourself to sleep because the pressure was so heavy. No one sees the early mornings when you showed up, even though your body was begging you to quit. No one celebrates the sacrifices, the self-control, the quiet consistency. But that's where the real work lives. That's where growth is born. You don't build greatness in the spotlight. You prepare for it in the dark, because the dark is where the excuses show up. The doubts, the fear, the voice that says, no one sees you. Why are you doing this? That voice wants you to quit. But if you can learn to keep going when there's no applause, no validation, no confirmation, then you're not just chasing a goal, you're becoming something different. And that's what makes the difference. Not just doing the work, but doing it when it's unseen, when no one is posting about it, when no one is cheering you on, when the only one who knows you didn't quit is you. You see, private victories always come before public ones. Always. You can't fake growth. You can't skip the process. You can't shortcut transformation. You've got to face yourself in those lonely moments. You've got to look in the mirror and say, this version of me isn't enough for where I'm going, and then go to war with your own comfort. The problem is, most people only perform when they're being watched. They give their best when someone's keeping score. But discipline, real discipline, is proven when no one's keeping track. It's when the cameras are off. When it's just you and the decision, you and the standard, you and the grind. That's why it's so important to fall in love with the process, not the praise. Because if praise is the only thing fueling you, you burn out the moment it disappears. But if purpose is your fuel, if you know who you're becoming, then the silence becomes sacred. You stop resenting the private work and start respecting it. Because you understand it's building something in you the world will one day see, but can never take credit for. Think about every strong tree. What holds it upright? Not what's above ground, it's the roots, the part no one sees, the part buried deep. That's what keeps it from falling when the storms come. And that's exactly what private discipline does. It grows your roots. It builds the parts of you that no one applauds, but everyone relies on. So if you're in a season when no one sees your effort, no one is clapping, and you're wondering if it's even worth it, keep going. You're not lost. You're being built. Because everything real is first formed in the unseen. Every day, you're faced with choices that seem small, ordinary, unimportant. But make no mistake, your future is hiding in those daily decisions, not in the big moments, not in the life-changing opportunities, but in the quiet, consistent choices you make when no one is watching. This is the part most people miss. Your destiny doesn't respond to what you say you want, it responds to what you do daily. You don't become disciplined once and for all. You become it again and again every single day. You don't become a leader because you had a good week. You become a leader because you've made 1,000 tiny decisions to show up with integrity when it was easier not to. That's the truth. It's not about the big breakthroughs. It's about what you do when it's boring, when it's repetitive, when the excitement has worn off. It's so easy to talk about goals. It's easy to dream. It's easy to say you want more. But your future is not built on what you say. It's built on what you choose. And not just once, every single day. You choose whether you're going to hit snooze or rise early, whether you're going to give your best or go through the motions, whether you're going to act on your values or bow to your feelings. And here's what most people don't realize. Repetition creates reality. The way you do anything becomes the way you do everything. Every decision adds up. Every moment of discipline compounds. And every moment of laziness, that compounds too. There are no neutral choices. You are either building your future or delaying it. Right now, with this moment, with this action. That's why the smallest decisions matter so much. Because they're not just decisions, they're declarations. You're telling the world who you are, you're proving to yourself what you believe. Every choice is a vote for the future you want or the future you'll regret. Think about it like this. You don't fall into success, you drip into it. One small choice at a time. And just like a drop of water cuts through stone, consistency cuts through resistance. Over time, that pressure builds something solid, something unshakable, something real. But most people quit because they can't see the results fast enough. They give up because the payoff isn't instant. They don't realize that growth is often invisible before it becomes undeniable. It's slow, it's steady, it's quiet, but it's always moving if you keep showing up. So the question isn't, what's your goal? Anyone can set a goal. The real question is, what are your patterns? Because your patterns will predict your path, and your path will always lead to a place that reflects your discipline or exposes your lack of it. You have the power to choose right now, not someday, not when you feel ready, but in this moment and in the next one and the one after that. That's how lives are changed. Not by hype, not by luck, but by daily, deliberate decisions that align with where you say you want to go. So take ownership, take responsibility, and understand this deeply. Your future is not waiting on chance. It's waiting on choices. So now you know, growth is not luck. It's not magic. It's not handed to you. It's earned through discipline, through commitment, through private battles, and daily decisions no one will ever see or celebrate. This journey, it's not easy, but it's worth it. Because the person you are becoming, the strength you are building, the life you are shaping, it's not a dream anymore. It's a decision. One you get to make every single day. So stop waiting for the right moment. Create it. Stop hoping someone will push you. Push yourself. You've got more in you than you've ever allowed to rise. It's time to unlock it. It's time to show up. It's time to grow, not because you feel like it, but because you refuse to stay where you are. This is your moment. This is your wake-up call. Let discipline lead you where motivation won't. Let your decisions be louder than your doubts. And whatever you do, don't stop now. You're not behind. You're not late. You're not disqualified. You're ready. So go get it. Go become it. And no matter what, keep moving forward. Your future is waiting. Good luck on your journey. And thank you for showing up today, not just to listen, but to change.